Dham, Mayapur, the spiritual headquarters of ISKCON and the world. How many of you come for the first time? How many from Vivaldi? How many from Juhu? How many from Attapur? How many from Surat? Radha Madhava Kunja श्री Sitaram की जय, भगवान की जय, श्री Mayapur धाम की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे ओमज्ञाननिर्मलस्य ज्ञानामृतस्वरूपाय चक्षुरुष्मीलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यामनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीराधकमलं श्रीगुरु वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा श्रीविशाखान्वितं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विषमानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णवेषाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिने नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। So I'm very happy to be with all of you, the youths of the nation, the future of the nation, all young devotees of Lord Krishna, all young devotees of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who have taken out your valuable time and come to this abode of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Mayapur Dham. It is called, it's a spiritual hidden treasure house. Mayapur Dham is a spiritual hidden treasure house. What I am trying to tell you, most of you who have come for the first time will experience this while you are leaving from Mayapur. Those who are very much blessed, those who try to see the Dham through the eyes of spiritual knowledge. It's called Shastra Chakshu. Through the eyes of spiritual knowledge, you will relish this holy place. This is a very, very special place. They say, no, the world is in a need of peace formula. Isn't it? The world is in a need of peace formula. Actually, the peace formula was inaugurated here in Mayapur Dham for the humanity at large, for the whole world. It was inaugurated here at Mayapur Dham. And by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But it was taken around the world by Srila Prabhupada. It was taken around the world by Srila Prabhupada. all of us in the current situation of our nation, the current situation of our country is very Hindutva, isn't it? Correct or not? The current situation of our nation is very Hindutva centered, no? It's a very Hindutva centered situation of the nation at the moment, but Hindutva was buried long back, 200 years ago, and very practically by the education system introduced by the Britishers. It is way below the earth now. You have to bring it out of the earth, put some oxygen and give some cylinder, pump some air into it, and then the humanity born in the Sitaram Dharma will actually breathe. Otherwise, it's a very sorry situation. Very sorry situation when it comes to, because every human being is born and brought up in a certain culture. Especially in India. In India, we are born and brought up. There is some always attached to the Vedic culture, isn't it? Everything is centered around Vedic culture in India. The way we live, because we are brought up in a family, in a society which has, I don't think so anyone here is born to atheist. Such bad time has not yet come, no? Anyone born to atheist? तो नास्तिक का बेटा है नहीं, इतना खराब टाइम में भी आया है वेरी सुन बट we are not coming from a godless civilization, but we are coming from a totally less knowledge about God. A civilization has absolutely zero knowledge about God. I always tell most of the people go to believe in God, especially Hindus, because they believe, they have faith, and they say very strongly, हम मानते हम लोग की श्रद्धा, हम लोग का faith. Of course, the recent movie Kerala Stories. हम मानते हैं कि उड़ा दे सकते, finished the whole thing. Most of the Hindus, they believe in God for two reasons. One, because he is brought up in a culture कि भगवान देना बैंक है, देते रहेंगे, मांगते रहो, देते रहेंगे. Then most of the Hindus go to the temple for this one reason. And students before the exams. Sometimes some students even write in the answer paper. Madam, please give me 2 marks. And then after doing all this, you are sure shot that you will fail. Then you go to the temple, give the results. And the second category goes to the temple and believes in God. Is a category wherein they feel that I have all these things, my family, my society, my job, my property, my duties. Let me go to the God and please Him also. In case He is there, and if He has given me all this, and He will get angry and take away, so better जाते रहो, मंदिर में जाते रहो, getting, वो भी करते रहो. So these are the two reasons Hindus go to the temple. Correct or not? Most of the Hindus, right? एक तो कि भगवान देंगे, दूसरे भगवान है कि नहीं पता नहीं, जा रहा है सही में है तो नाराज होकर सब ले लेंगे. इसके लिए जाओ. That's an unspoken reason. It's unspoken, it's an unspoken reason. And it's true. It is very much true, because when I started doing youth preaching, I could see practically this whole completely Vedic culture, completely God civilization destroyed. What is left in Hindus is Hindus is next. Money. My own family. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing means nothing. My own family. Now that is also coming to an end. Within the family also there are so many issues. I'm not talking about joint family. Joint family is dead and gone 10 years before. That is also dead and gone. The current family, husband and wife are fighting. And majority of the old people have become like old furniture. No. There is in the Vedic culture, they used to say, old is gold. Because the old people would have very, very special values, Vedic and spiritual values. That is why it was to be called as gold. You understand? Have you seen any elder member of a society who is just very spiritualist, who is very knowledgeable? Have you seen the society respecting him, touching his feet? Have you seen that? No, very soon that will also disappear. Because nowadays most of the old people are waiting when they will die. And old people don't want to talk about them. The old people gather together, discuss about the medicines which will suit their body, so that they can be alive. And the young people think that, after 3 years, we call the same thing. The world is in such a terrible situation that there is no love, there is no peace, there is no happiness. Everywhere there is such stories. Either in relation to this, either in relation to relationship problems, either in relation to financial problems, either in relationship to beauty problems. Beauty problems. The human beings have become so externally conscious that there is a civilization wherein which teaches that the external beauty of what you look is all in all. The external look is all in all. The whole society is centered around that kind of culture. And people in so much of depression. And Shastras say you are not this body. What are you? You are a spirit soul. If you want to know about your body today evening, just smell like this. Put your nose like this and sleep. Check if you can sleep. That's your body. Just put your hand like this and sleep. Can you sleep? No, that's your body. That's your body. That's the beauty of the body. You don't take bath for 2 days and you smell of goat. And you have bकरी में हाथ लगाया, हाथ लगा के smell किया, 2 दिन मत नाओ और अपने को smell करो. Touch the goat and don't wash your hand. And don't take bath for 2 days. And just smell your body and smell your hand. That's how this body is. And the second truth about this body is that this body, after a certain time, it starts deteriorating. Deteriorating समझते? Old age. Old age. Disease. Can anyone avoid it? Can anyone avoid it? No, right? Nobody can avoid it. But everyone will be forced to accept. Correct or not? Everyone will be forced to accept it without his choice. That is the truth. This is truth. Education in Vedic time begins with this knowledge. This is the ABC of spiritual education. 10 months, repeat with me. This is the ABC.
This is the ABC
of spiritual knowledge.
Of spiritual knowledge.
Which means
you
are not this body.
You are not this body.
You are the spirit soul.
You are the spirit soul.
Every child should be taught this. Like which we are taught in the school. A for apple, B for ball, C for cat, D for we donkeys. By ABC we become donkeys. Because we feel that working hard like a donkey is a success of life. Money in the pocket and a beautiful girlfriend and all, and a wife is the goal of life. It's not true. In the Vedic culture, beautiful or ugly girl, they would always cover their head. Now a beautiful wife and a girlfriend will not cover her head, open her body. The whole world look at her and you walk with pride. Wow. Some मेरी wife को देख रहे, वाह, कितनी सुंदर है. लेकिन बात है क्या? Time is so bad now. Time is so bad right now. All this is being, externally from. There is no spirituality. Education, working hard, getting a job, that's all. And everyone looks at that way. There is no other purpose of life. But the Shastra says, Bharat Bhumi to hoyo janmayar, janma sarthak kari karo paro upakar. The Shastra, scriptures. You all Indians should know what is the message from the scriptures for an Indian. If I ask you what's your goal of life, right? You will say, I'll become a good photographer. Unless I'll become an engineer. Unless I'll become a businessman. Otherwise I'll take care of my father's business. I'll become a doctor. I'll crack G and get into, already crack some of them. And I guess students first must have cracked something good. So to crack something to reach an ID student, what is that? So you go to IIT and get a, I'll be placed in ISKCON. So everyone will have a different goal, right? If I ask you what's your goal of life, but if I ask you what's the goal of human form of life, if all of you sitting here are human beings, then it has to be one. Correct? If you ask what's the goal of human form of life, then it has to be one. And that is mentioned in Islam. Bharat Bhumi to hoyo janmayar, janma sarthak kari paro upakar. What does it mean? It means those who are born in this part of the creation, of this part of the world, Bharat Bhumi, janmayar, janma sarthak. You know sarthak? Perfect. Janma sarthak kari paro upakar. Means you make your life perfect. Karo paro upakar. Then you help others to make their life perfect. What is that perfection? What is that perfection? Yes, to be Krishna conscious. To be Krishna conscious. That is perfection. Yesterday, I was showing my sons Discovery Channel. So they wanted to see who wins between jaguar and snow leopard. I told them, snow leopard lives in snow, jaguar lives in green forest. So the one strong. So I put a video in National Geographic to show them. Suddenly, a video came that a jaguar was attacking a herd of deers. And while attacking, the deer gave a birth just before that. And what was the baby? And as soon as the herd of the deers saw the jaguar, they all started running. And the narrator was telling that it is the duty of the mother deer to leave the child in the big grasses and run away. So that the child cannot walk now. But then he can come back, she can and take the child after escaping. So she ran from there, but the jaguar smelled the child and it built a small baby, took it in the teeth, ate, grabbed her neck and took her. So I was seeing that and I was amazed. Then I told my child, my sons, I told them, see how This material world is such a dangerous place. I told you all are also mother of a child. Yes, it is. That deer is also child of the mother. I said, do you have this fear that you will be taken by a tiger like this to us? No. But you see how other species live in so much of fear. That's why I told them human birth is very, very special and rare. The struggles which other species have is not there in the human birth. Have you seen a bird eating? The people eat, and eat up. And then eat again. Have you seen that? Because it is fearful, another eagle will come and catch it, make and fly. Have you seen monkeys eating? They fill up their neck like this. See, why? Other monkeys will finish their food. How many of you eat like this in your house? Like this, sitting up and down. Or fill it, Papa, how many of you eat? Nobody. The human birth is very, very special. Very, very rare. It has some higher intelligence, and one of the main reasons of that, one of the main achievement of intelligence is one can understand the spiritual subject. One can know its own self in human birth. That we are not this body. You can feel it. You can feel it. You can introspect it. You understand introspect? You can introspect. When you're told you are not this body, from the Bhagavad Gita, the Krishna says, Arjuna, Dehino asminyata dehe, komaram yomanam jana, tada deham tada prapte. When you come across this shloka of the Gita, and if you are told, you can relate it very easily. Right? And the easiest way Srila Prabhupada explains is, Srila Prabhupada actually, who introduced this to the whole world. Who introduced the spiritual subject in a very understandable language, was introduced to the world by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada gave this knowledge in a very understandable language and very practical logic. That Prabhupada, in the shlokas of where you have to prove the soul's existence, Srila Prabhupada used to give an example. Have you seen a dead body? And everyone would say yes. What's the difference between a dead body and a living body? Consciousness is not there. Consciousness is not there. And the body is right there. Nothing has happened to the body. The body is as it is. Your body and a dead body is the same. It's the same one material. You understand? All the chemicals and fats and elements, everything is same. But the dead body starts deteriorating the moment the soul leaves. Isn't it? Without the soul, the body has no value. You may love the body, but actually the love is for the real person, that is soul. That is why you never see, you see sometimes in a funeral, some people cry to the extent that they don't allow you to take the dead body, right? If suppose the gathering says, "Arey, they love so much and the body को इधर रख दो," they keep it. अरे नहीं अपन को अन्याय कर रहे हैं इनके साथ में, ये देखो कितना रो रहे हैं, कितना इसको प्रेम कर रहे हैं, क्यों ले जाके इसको जलाना? दे दो इनको. You keep the body? अरे नहीं हम तो रो रहे हैं मगर तुम लेके जाओ. तुम तुम्हारा काम करो, हम हमारा काम. Isn't it true? Because a real person is a soul. So that's the ABCD of spirituality. And this was introduced by Srila Prabhupada. In fact, Srila Prabhupada wanted this Mayapur Dham to be the spiritual headquarters of his spiritual mission. Mayapur Dham to be the spiritual headquarters of his spiritual mission. So, you should know about Srila Prabhupada a little bit because we will be going to Samadhi, beautiful Samadhi of Srila Prabhupada there in Mayapur Dham. So, how Srila Prabhupada came up? Srila Prabhupada was born in a Vaishnava Bengali family in Kolkata. And his father, from the childhood, was Vaishnava. His grandparents were devotees. So his father used to always invite devotees to his house. And he would feed them prasadam. All of you had lunch today? Lunch prasad? How was the prasad? It says Indians, if they don't become devotees of God, for sure they become devotees of prasad. And from there they become devotees of God. First they become devotees of prasad. So, Srila Prabhupada's father used to invite sadhus, and he used to, after feeding them, he used to tell them that please bless my son so that he becomes a devotee of Srimati Radharani. How beautiful is Radharani? All of you have visited the temple, no? All of you visited the temple and seen? So, pray that please bless that my son becomes a devotee of. And when Srila Prabhupada was growing up, India was under the rule of British. As Srila Prabhupada grew up, he had a great influence of the Gandhi mission of freedom. And the college he was studying, Subhash Chandra Bose was 1 or 2 classes ahead of Srila Prabhupada in the college. And you can imagine Subhash Chandra Bose. What an impact he had at that time in the youths in the country. It is said the real freedom India got because of he chased the Britishers out of the nation. He created fear in their heart to leave. You know that, right? All of you know, no? All of you know or no?
Yes.
It is he who created the fear. His army was called Azad Hind Fauj. Azad Hind Fauj. So Prabhupada was very influenced. So one day, while Srila Prabhupada was in college, one of his friends came to him and told him that there is a very, very special sadhu who has come nearby. Let's go and meet him. So Srila Prabhupada already had so many sadhus whom he has met because his father used to invite them at home and feed them, right? So he already said, no, I have met many. मेरा पूरा बचपन उसमें निकल गया, मेरे को नहीं आया. But his friend, you come, please come. So he took him. So when the friend took him, it was Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, whose temple is also there, very nearby. During your visit, you will visit his temple also. So when Srila Prabhupada met Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they had a conversation. And Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, when he saw Srila Prabhupada, he was very impressed. He saw a young, educated English boy, English-speaking boy, who knows Vaishnava philosophy, who knows the philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. So, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur told Srila Prabhupada, why don't you are an English-speaking young Indian? Why don't you take the message of the Bhagavad Gita, the message of Godhead, to the Western English-speaking world? Srila Prabhupada, he told him. So, Srila Prabhupada was already very influenced at that time by Gandhi and Subhash Chandra Bose. So Srila Prabhupada replied to him, who's going to listen to the message of God by a country which is dominated by foreign forces? We are a dominated country. Who's going to listen to our message in the Western world? So Srila Prabhupada told him something very strong. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, he told him very strong to Srila Prabhupada that the message of Godhead, the spiritual message of Gita and Bhagavatam, doesn't depend upon a political situation of a nation. It is an eternal need of humanity in every place, irrespective of their political situation. You understand? You understood what I said? Bhakti Siddhanta said, the message of Gita, message of Godhead, doesn't depend upon the political situation of a nation. It is a need. Like, if we have to come and preach in the colleges and university to the students, society will tell them, "अरे ये बच्चे लोग को छोड़ दो, उनकी उम्र ही क्या है ना? उनको लाइन मारने दो, दारू सिगरेट पीने दो अभी इनकी उम्र ही क्या है? जब बूढ़े होंगे तब आप हम खुद भेजेंगे मंदिर, isn't it? Right? Nowadays, Prabhupada used to say, it is like, when you go to the temple, you take a very nice fresh flower और सड़ा हुआ मुरझा हुआ फूल लेके आते मंदिर. Become a spiritualist in old age. It's like that. It's like that. But from Srila Prabhupada's conversation, we understand that the message of God is not bounded by boundaries of the nation, and also is not bounded by the age. It is the basic education for a person to become a human being. Like in the Muslims, they say, one who has read Quran, he becomes a Musliman. If he has not read it, till then, he is actually an animal. He is yet to become a human being. He is yet to become a human being. I have seen, when I was growing up, I never knew so much, but I have seen very practically. And all my childhood friends who were Muslims, either they would go to a mosque, or a Maulana used to come to their house to teach them. How many of you seen that? Right from the childhood. Right from the childhood. And it is there in Vedic culture also. We all are taught, thanks to Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana. Otherwise, Adipurush would become a real one. Isn't it true? And why? See, why people rejected Adipurush movie? You know why? Because they had a glimpse of the culture, language, and a very, very emotional, spiritually messaged Ramayana by Ramanand Sagar. Isn't it true? Because we saw that is why we could say this is not Ramayana. Correct or not? Similarly, in the childhood, if you are educated about spirituality, you will never go off. Never go off. So, coming back to Srila Prabhupada, when Srila Prabhupada heard this from Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, he was very impressed. He was very impressed. That answer, because Srila Prabhupada said, Desh Adar hona chahiye, and हमको भी dominated country है, but Srila Prabhupada woke up with the spiritual values given to him in his childhood. That if you don't perform bhakti, it is a very miserable life. Forget about going to hell. In this body only it is so miserable. Every month, you say Kali. Kali means the age of quarrel. Kali means the age of quarrel. Here, people are only envious of each other, greedy, selfish, self-centered, and power hungry. Isn't it true? Living in such a society, isn't it suffering? Now you all are students, many of you. But in students also there is so much of, especially those who are toppers in the class. Those who are toppers in the class, they are very selfish. And they are living so much stress. If someone comes very close to their mark, finished. Narasimha Prabhu, you will meet him. He used to give an example that some, of course there is another example, I will not quote that. He used to say that those who are toppers, they used to live in so much stress. Some might just by little less marks they will commit suicide. And there will be borderline pass. And they will always be partying because they passed. Just borderline pass out, grace mark, in the report card it comes 33 plus 2. You see that? It just passed. I was in that category. My teacher used to call me just passed. Suraj. The next exam said, because I somehow or other I was meant for this education system, because I used to always feel that examination means you should study to pass only. So I used to very thoroughly study, fill in the blanks, match the column, true or false. 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 15, 14 is passing, right? I used to work it out. And then anyways, you don't need to know that. So Srila Prabhupada, when he met, he was very impressed with this answer. And then he realized that people are suffering and going to hell. For them, giving this message of God is more important. Let me tell you one more story of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Subhash Chandra Bose. Once, Subhash Chandra Bose, he came to know Srila Prabhupada's guru, Bhakti Siddhanta. He actually was attracting a lot of young people. Attracting a lot of young people to the society. Like all of you are there. Subhash Chandra Bose went to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta and he said that I am seeing, my dear, Sadhuji, I am seeing that you are attracting so many young, youths to your mission, to your mata. I have taken a great responsibility of giving freedom to our nation. I have asked everyone, give your blood and I will give you. So why don't you please give some of your youths in this great cause? Srila Bhakti Siddhanta said, have you read the Gita? He said, yes, I have read the Gita. And then Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur put it, have you read one shloka? Remember which shloka was that? What he said? Translation?
At the time of the death, whoever quits his body.
The translation of the verse is like this.
At the time of death, whoever quits the body, he attains the next body, whatever state of mind he puts the body.
At the time of death, whatever state of mind one leaves his body, he gets the next birth according to the state of his mind. So, do you understand this, Prabhupada? Have you read this? He asked Subhash Chandra Bose. He said, yes, of course. He said, now I want to ask you one thing. If suppose you, before getting the freedom, you leave your body and then you take birth in London. The next birth is in London. So at that time, what you will do? Will you fight for the freedom of India from the British, or you will stand with the Britishers to dominate India? What you will do? Suppose you leave this body and you take birth as a British man. As a British man. So at that time, what you will do? At that time, what you will do? Will you fight for India's freedom, or will you fight for the British domination for India? So Subhash Chandra Bose, well, at this moment, freedom for India is very important. He said that is very small. My concern is for not only for, this is a very bodily cause, he said. This is a very bodily cause. The real reason of humanity suffering is the illusion. It's because of the illusion that there is body and forgetful that there is spirit souls. That is the real cause. And my concern is not only about the human beings. My concern is that every living being should get connected to God. My mission is far bigger. And then Subhash Chandra Bose understood. We very much appreciated Bhakti Siddhanta and never came back to him for asking youths. So that is our acharyas. They preach like this. Even Srila Prabhupada, when he met Bhakti Siddhanta, who was such a strong preacher, he always was contemplating how I will spread this message of Bhagavad Gita to the whole world. Srila Prabhupada initially thought, I will preach in India. He tried a lot to preach in India. He took sannyas from his marriage life in the 60s, of his age. And then he wrote a lot of scriptures. He wrote the Bhagavatam. And while writing, he was always contemplating that my spiritual master Bhakti Siddhanta, he had ordered me to spread the message of the Bhagavad Gita in the Western world. And he was also thinking that if I preach in India, I will have some students whom I can train to start the mission. So he tried a lot. In fact, Srila Prabhupada, he went to many of his friends, many of his family friends, gentlemen, Hindus, and those Hindus who had 4 sons, 5 sons, he would beg them, why don't you give me one son? I will make him the preacher of Bhagavad Gita. You have 4 sons, you have 3 sons. Why did you keep one? Nobody was interested. Nobody. He said, Arey, kya sab mein padega? Nobody. So, Srila Prabhupada, he actually started printing magazines to distribute that. So now he struggled a lot in preaching. You should read Srila Prabhupada's autobiography. There's a small book which is Srila Prabhupada's autobiography. Very beautiful. You come to know all these leelas of Srila Prabhupada. In fact, while struggling, he once was trying to distribute books in spiritual license in Delhi. One day, he was in small lanes of Delhi, and a bull came and hit him. He fell down on the floor unconscious. He was a sannyasi. He already renounced from the family life. Nobody to take care. After some time, some people, lifted him up, kept him aside. He woke up and went with a great pain, injured. And I gave it right. Then nothing was happening in India. He started an organization called the League of Devotees. But he had one boy whom he initiated, giving Diksha. But that boy also was very much influenced by his family. You know, family was like, like our Amogila Prabhu says. You see, there's a video of a Hindu Dakkan. You see that? In that video, he says, nicely he says, अरे हमारे हिंदू के बच्चे ने दारू पिए, लड़की लाइन मारे, दारू पिए, जुआ खेले, और खाली अच्छा सैलरी होना चाहिए बस, माता पिता को गर्व होता है, और अगर भक्त बन गया रो रहे हैं, छाती पीट के रोएंगे, क्या हो गया है देखो इसको. So that was the situation. Srila Prabhupada said that the whole India is following the West. You go to the West, my Guru Maharaj told me, let me preach to the Americans and Europeans. And he went there. It's a very long story. How Srila Prabhupada reached America. While he was on the ship towards US, he got 2 heart attacks. He went in a cargo ship. Cargo ship, you understand? In which containers go? Luggage. He went in that. Even how he got a ticket for that also is a very miracle. Whenever Srila Prabhupada used to preach in India, he used to tell them, if you can help me a ticket to America, will be very nice. Sponsor me a visa to America. So, one, Mr. Agarwal, who had a son in America, son of Gopal Agarwal. So, he sponsored Prabhupada's, he arranged a sponsorship for Srila Prabhupada. To go to America, he needed a sponsorship. So when Srila Prabhupada suddenly got a letter that he has a sponsorship to America and he did not have passport. After the sponsorship, he arranged his passport to go to America. He got a free ticket. That also is a very great story. How many from Mumbai? One lady called Sumiti Murarji. Sumiti Murarji. She stays in Juhu. She gave a free ticket. Srila Prabhupada from Bandra used to come to Andheri station. From Andheri station he used to walk to Juhu. And then sit there every day, 3 hours to request this lady to give a ticket. When he went and got a ticket, he got 2 heart attacks on a 31-day journey. What we will do if we get a heart attack? Next flight and come back. Isn't it? Krishna is indicating me, I am old, this is not meant for me now. Correct? Niklo. Srila Prabhupada continued. You know why he continued? Our acharyas give an explanation about it. He says, a sadhu, why he goes outside and preaches? Anyone knows this?
Vaishnav is that's why Srila Prabhupada went to say the word.
Vaishnava is called Dukkha Dukhi. One of the reasons it is said that a spiritualist, especially the sadhus, their hearts bleed because they see humanity at large is suffering and going to hell. Understand? Is suffering and going to hell. That is one of the reasons sadhus preach. There are some people who are chosen by the Lord. Understand? To spread a message. Right? Some by karma become a doctor, an engineer, blah blah blah. Similarly, some are chosen by the Lord. And the ones who are chosen have this in their heart. So, Srila Prabhupada, when he went to America, he landed with the heart attacks. He survived the heart attack, then he landed, and then he was preaching. While preaching, he met some devotees. I'll send you some more details about his preaching tomorrow. But while he was preaching, there was a lot of struggle. Because in America, say in India, for example, all of you, when you saw any devotee in dhoti kurta, you respected him, right? Naturally you respect. Correct or not? That is in our Indian culture. Correct? Anyone in dhoti kurta who speaks the message of Gita, you respect. Naturally. But in America it's not like that. They don't even know what is dhoti kurta. Do you know that? But Srila Prabhupada preached, they don't even know the culture. Therefore in India, if you come for a Gita class, will you put your legs straight in front of the face of the speaker and say, Bolo Swami? Anyone of you said like this? Bolo. Anyone? No? Nobody. That's our culture. But that's not that in America. That's not. Srila Prabhupada was living in the house of Gopal Agarwal, whose wife was an American. So Srila Prabhupada used to keep vegetables for himself in the fridge. And in the same fridge, she used to keep chicken and meat at the above section of the fridge. And one day Srila Prabhupada preached there, and he made with great struggle, he made some devotees. So one of the devotees was driving Srila Prabhupada to a city countryside. So while driving, they left early in the morning. So this devotee, he tells later on, with tears in his eyes, after Srila Prabhupada is gone, he shares this pastime. He tells, we were so uncultured. He said, when I was taking Srila Prabhupada to a park early in the morning, I had one apple. And I took a bite of that apple. And then I gave it to Srila Prabhupada. I said, Swami, would you like to have some? He took a bite of the apple and he gave it to Srila Prabhupada and said, Swami, would you have to have some? So like that, lot of struggles Srila Prabhupada went through. In fact, but when the mission was established, after the struggle, because he never compromised. If you don't compromise, Krishna empowers you. When Srila Prabhupada was started his mission, he preached very boldly, very, very strongly. Like when he went to London, when he went to London for the first time. So, already some of the devotees were preaching in London. Srila Prabhupada said that some of the devotees they were preaching in London. So when Srila Prabhupada came to London, there were a lot of people to greet Srila Prabhupada in London. Have you seen the video? Prabhupada arriving in the airport. How many of you seen? Srila Prabhupada arrives at the airport. People from London, the London young youths of the London, many of them looking kurta, they were welcoming. So the reporters came. And they asked Srila Prabhupada, Swamiji, why have you come to London? Why have you come to our country? What is the reason? We have our religion. Why have you come here? He said, I have not come here to take anything. I have come to give you something which you forgot to take when you were there in our country for 300 years. I have come to give you the Vedic culture, by which a human being actually becomes a human being. That was Srila Prabhupada's speech. One day Srila Prabhupada was describing about hell, and reporter asked, Srila Prabhupada, practically tell me, how is hell? So Prabhupada is in London. He said, hell is like London. There is no sun in hell, and there is no sun in. And do you know? The sun doesn't. How many of you know? The sun doesn't rise in London. If the sun rises in London, it's a Diwali. They celebrate that. There is no sun. So like that. One day, one person asked, Swamiji, are you God realized? Prabhupada did not give attention. He took other questions. The person again put the mic in front of him. Swamiji, are you God realized? So Prabhupada looked at him and said, if I say yes, will you accept it? It took him a few seconds to understand what Srila Prabhupada said. Prabhupada told him, if I say yes, will you accept it? All reporters are looking at him. He has to say. Because Srila Prabhupada left only two options, yes or no, for himself. And put a question to him, right? If I say yes, will you accept it? Then the fellow went back and said, that won't be difficult. Then Srila Prabhupada said, then what is the use of such a nonsense question? There was one reporter asking Swami, one young lady, a reporter, Swamiji, why do you shave your heads? And Prabhupada answered some other question. Again she put the mic. Swamiji, why do you people shave your heads? The third time when she asked, Srila Prabhupada said, she was in a miniskirt and shaven legs. Prabhupada said, why do you shave your legs? And all reporters looking at her. And she was embarrassed, frozen. Prabhupada said, it's better to have a cool head than cool legs. Though there is a reason why we shave it. People are so ignorant. Srila Prabhupada's preaching was very special. He never used to get into answering the question. He used to awake the ignorance of the question of the questioner. You understand the point? He used to awake the ignorance of the question of the questioner. That was Srila Prabhupada. That is how he presented the Vedic philosophy. That is how he presented the Vedic philosophy. One day, there was some question on spiritual world. And Prabhupada was explaining that everything cannot be seen. You need qualification. You need spiritual eyes. You need a spiritual body to know spiritual subject. But by knowledge, you can realize. Just like you cannot see air. But you have some information about air. And some experience that air is there, right? And then you accept it. So one person was unnecessarily arguing. Seeing is believing, seeing is believing, seeing is believing. So Prabhupada told him, have you seen why your father is your father? How he became your father? Guy was finished. He was acting over smart. And then Prabhupada just put mushroom. Have you seen why your father is your father? How he became your father? Have you seen that? Khatam. Finished? Or they shall finish. Isn't it true? What can you answer? Can you answer this? You will accept it, no? Because your mother is telling you he is your father. Prabhupada said, will you find out? No. You will accept whomever your mother says is your father. Similarly, who are we? Who is God? What is this world? Why it is created? What is our relationship with God? Who is God? Is mentioned in the scriptures, which are like mothers. And we accept. We accept. Have you ever heard anyone preaching like this? Have you ever heard? That's how Srila Prabhupada preached. And then, what Srila Prabhupada did in it, he said the whole world is following the West. I will go to America and Europe. Make the Americans a devotee of Krishna. Bring them to India. And then Indians will see them and become devotees of Krishna. And that is exactly happening. This Mayapur Dham is a symbol of that preaching. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. When you walk in, did you see Westerners here? Why not here? Tomorrow when you attend Mangal Aarti and all festivals, you will see. So many of you will living. And when Srila Prabhupada in 1970s, he brought young, bright, dhoti kurta, shaven head, Americans and Europeans. The whole nation was shocked. How many from Surat? Read the Nilamri. When Srila Prabhupada brought the Western sadhus to India in Surat, the governor of Surat declared a holiday for the whole city to come and see them doing kirtan. You know that? That was impact. And then when Srila Prabhupada came here to Mayapur, it's a beautiful story now about Mayapur. When he came to Mayapur, he thought that this Mayapur is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace. Who is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He is Krishna, who comes as his own devotee. I will tell about this tomorrow more in detail. But Krishna, when he comes as his own devotee with his associates, is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He appeared here. One of the reasons he came as his devotee is he wanted to teach the world how to become his devotees. When Krishna spoke the Gita and went, he saw from the up that though I spoke the knowledge, nobody is able to follow. How to be my devotee? I have to teach them. Who can teach better than me? Then I will only go and become my devotee. So he is their devotee. That is Panchadham. That is why this Dham is very special. This Dham is a place where Lord himself teaches how to become his devotee. Why? That I tell tomorrow. But you know this for today. So, Prabhupada wanted that this place should be the headquarters, spiritual headquarters. So he came here and he told his disciples. One of his favorite disciples, very, very close, Kamal Krishna Maharaj. So Srila Prabhupada came here and he told, I want the land here. There is a Srila Prabhupada's hut. You will get an opportunity to see. A small hut, that's a place everyone lived in the initial days. You will see dioramas also there. So Srila Prabhupada lived there and he told, I want to have a spiritual city. And Srila Prabhupada took his initial young American European disciples on a walk. That also you will see photos around. He is walking in all jungle and fields around. And he looks here, right there where the hut is. He sees this whole place. Whole place what you are sitting now around everything. It was just forest and rice field. And Srila Prabhupada looks around and he says, this will be the spiritual headquarters of the Krishna consciousness movement. All his disciples were just worried because Calcutta, you traveled from Calcutta to Mayapur? It's a long journey, no? You were thinking, who's going to come here? First of all. Second thing, the only thing what is visible is overgrown grasses, rice field and jungle. I don't know what Srila Prabhupada says, spiritual headquarters. But now you see, after 50 years, it's become a city. ISKCON has 700 acres of land. How much?
700.
Samajhta hai acre? All of you understand? How much is an acre? You know that? You know how much is a square feet? This room must be 1/4 of an acre. Less than 1/4. 1/4. And 1 acre is 40,000 square feet. 1 acre is? And this 700 acres is called homes. So the Prabhupada said, we make a spiritual city here. So, Srila Prabhupada slowly by his disciples said he brought all this land. And Srila Prabhupada left by them. But this place is surrounded by Muslims. Fully surrounded. So one day, in 1984, 10th of March, 9th or 10th of March, midnight, 40 to 50 dacoits, they attacked the temple here. And they took away the deity of Srimati Radharani and Srila Prabhupada. On the altar you will see small Ashtadhatu, golden looking deities. Only they were worshipped. And they were being stolen by the dacoits. When the dacoits were stealing them, the devotees woke up and they actually revolted and fought against them. Guns were shot. Security guards, they ran into the toilet, locked themselves with the guns out of fear. Srila Prabhupada disciples, one disciple Pankaj, they actually came out, broke the door of the toilet, took the gun and shot to save the deities. In that whole battle, a lot of commotion was there. Srila Prabhupada had already left this world. So devotees were very disturbed. Because what to do? How do we go ahead now? So everyone remembered that similar incident had happened in the past, and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur installed a deity of Narasimha. So they thought, let us invite Lord Narasimha Dev to stay in Mayapur. The whole management decided, let us bring Narasimha Dev deity and worship him. But now what to do? The then leader, he writes, the one who brings the deity, he writes the story how Narasimha Dev appeared here. It is said that one of the leaders, Bhavananda Prabhu, he made a sketch of Narasimha Dev. And Atmatattva Prabhu, who writes this story, he takes the sketching of Lord Narasimha Dev and he goes to South India. And he searches a Sthapati. Sthapati is a, what do you call it? Sculpture. Sculpture who carves the deities. Sthapatis are little beyond that. They don't only carve the deity, they also know the worship standards and the temple architecture. How to, what kind of stone to be used. They don't only stuff, they understand the philosophy behind it. So, the Sthapati who went, the first one saw the drawing and he said, this is Ugra Narasimha, the ferocious form of Narasimha Dev, where he is searching for Hiranyakashipu. Who? Hiranyakashipu. He said, these forms, I will not be able to carve, you go to someone else. So after he goes to 2-3 more sculptures, but nobody agrees. Disappointed, he comes back and tells everyone in Mayapur. One devotee, Radha Patra, he gives 1,30,000 in advance. You can pay the money, get the deity. We want to install Narasimha Dev within 6 months in Mayapur. Why? Because Narasimha Dev is a protecting form. What is that? He appeared only for one reason. What? So we should protect the Dham first. Protect the land here. So the devotees can be protected and they can perform their bhajan and also build the project. So, again he was sent back to the same first Sthapati who told it is Ugra Narasimha. Then he saw. This time he made him sit and showed him some scriptures which describes this form. The form was Lord Narasimha bent little bit. Hands like this, very angrily looking out. It is a form of Lord Narasimha just before jumping out of the pillar and searching for Hiranyakashipu. So, he said that these forms are not worshipped. So, but it is a very ferocious form. Not worshipped in this planet. It's a Ugra Narasimha. So then he went again to other scriptures and nobody was interested. Again he went back to Mayapur, again sent back to go to the same person. This time, when he met this sculpture, the sculpture immediately, before he could, Atmadatta Prabhu thought that this time I will fall at his feet and hold his feet. He agrees that Baraduga. But to his surprise, the sculpture was a devotee also. He says, before the Atmatattva could request, he tells him, okay, I will make this deity for you. More amazing in the story how he agreed. His guru was Adi Shankaracharya of Kanchipura. And the guru, he met his guru and told him that this Hare Krishna people, they have approached me and they wanted me to make a deity of Narasimha. So the guru asked him, which deity of Narasimha? He said, Ugra deity. Ugra deity? I said, even Ugra, he showed the drawing. He had that drawing. He said that they want to make this Ugra. The guru saw it. And this is Sthanu Narasimha. This form is not worshipped. In fact, are they very serious? Do they know the consequences of any offense to this form? Any mistake in its worship? Do they know? Do the Hare Krishna people know? And then the Guru told him a story. He said, near Mysore there was a village. In that village, they worshipped Ugra Narasimha. And the worship used to be very gorgeous. And they would do grand festivals, elephant processions for Narasimha. Slowly, the standard declined. And that place became a very disturbed place. With quarrels, robbery, so many unwanted things. And now that place has become a ghost haunted place. Nobody is able to live there peacefully. So are they really serious? And then he said, I'm not going to make the disciple go. But the day Atmadatta reached there, the Sthapati received a letter from his guru where he gave him some instructions about various services, and in the footnote he wrote, for the Hare Krishna ISKCON, you make this deity. And then Atmadatta narrates the story. Then the Sthapati told him, in the 6th, he asked him, how much time it will take? He said, in 6 months your deity will be ready. After he came back, big festival here, Narasimha Devi is coming. After 4 months, he took a lot of money, went to South India, purchased a lot of brass paraphernalia worship. Lamps, arti plates, everything. And then he went to the Sthapati. Thinking that deity will be ready, I will make the arrangement to do. So when he reached there, he said, oh, is our deity ready? How much weight it is? What kind of transport I will need to take it back to Mayapur? This was in South India, somewhere in Tamil Nadu. Sthapati, which deity? Our deity, Narasimha Dev? Yeah, I want to make the deity, but I have not yet got the stone. He went mad because we had all the periphernals in a small tempo traveler. He went mad. He said, we are waiting for deity installation. Installing Lord Narasimha Dev in next 2 months. He said, this is not a doll. The Vishnu forms. Then he explained in very important science also of deity worship. You see, the Vishnu forms are made out of very special stone. These stones have life. And the stones, there are two tests which is done. Before concluding, this is bona fide stone to carve a deity. One is there are different parts, different boundaries of this stone where you have to hit with another stone and it makes a different sound. That is one sign. Second sign, there is a bug which eats this stone. It has to pass through one side and creating a full transparent hole to the other side. If these two things are done, that deity, a Vishnu form, can be carved. And after I get that form, stone, then 6 months your deity will be ready. After that, he went mad, very happy. After 2 months, he came back again. By the time his Tapati got the stone, and he started carving the deity. For days together, he sat with the deity alone, thinking how the Lord wants to manifest. This is all science and philosophy. How the Lord wants to manifest. And then finally he carved a beautiful deity of Lord Narasimha. And then he had a village, marriage in his village. He kept the deity in as it is in his workshop, and then he came for the marriage. As soon as he came back, he got a news that there's a fire in his storehouse. He came back, everything burned into ashes, except Lord Narasimha deity. He saw the deity, and the deity in its vision told him. He understood that the Lord wants his worship to start. He called immediately Atmatapu by a phone call and told him, come, the Lord wants his worship to start, please take it. Atmatapu took a big truck and sand on it. The deity was maybe 1,000 tons, hundreds of tons, 1,000 tons I think. Very difficult to lift. Very great difficulty with the crane, it was put on the truck. Now, from Tamil Nadu to Mayapur, you have to cross more than 3 to 4 states. And every state has more than 10 to 12 checkposts. And these kind of deities, you all will go and take darshan of Narasimha. These kind of deities, they need a very special, very, very special archaeological department's permission. Because they look like ancient deities. So you need to pass a lot of documents. You need to start the journey. Abdullah Prabhu said, every checkpost and every government official who came to inspect the deity saw the deity half and signed, seeing the deity signed it. Signed the papers. Saw the deity as a living. He said, even at the checkpost people will come. And then with a long journey of 2 weeks, they say, when Narasimha arrived here. In 1984, this incident happened. In 1986, 86 or 85, Lord Narasimha was installed. There were so many stories of Lord Narasimha talking to the devotees, coming in a dream. This is very, very special. This is Dham Raksha, protecting the Dham and its devotees. So this is how Lord Narasimha appeared here in Mayapur. How many of you take a darshan of Lord Narasimha? Many of you are yet to take one. You will go and take darshan of Lord Narasimha now. And there is a story of Panchadar gods, how they appeared here. But I think that story I'll tell tomorrow. How many? I'll tell the story of Panchadar gods with the story of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tomorrow. Okay? So now you all can go and take darshan. The beautiful darshan of Radha Madhav. See, my experience and many of the devotees' experience, when they took the first darshan of Radha Madhav, in the material world, people say, love at first sight. When you have spiritual knowledge, and you have a spiritual vision, what spirit is, what spiritual world is, how God is, how He is a controller, He is a maintainer, He is a creator. We all are created by Him. when we understand God's position and have knowledge, with that and in association, it is said that in the scriptures that, have you been to holy place before in your life? Have you been to holy place before in your life? How many of you been to holy place before also? How many of you been to holy place? Holy place. Vrindavan, Mathura, Ayodhya, Pandharpur. You been, right? Many of you been. Right? It is said the holy place doesn't reveal itself to general masses. It only reveals itself when one goes in association of a devotee. You understand? The holy Dham also reveals itself when you go in association of devotees. When you see Radha Madhav, it is like the spiritual love at first sight. You will see that. Now you will go and you will experience it. And beautiful Panchatattva, tomorrow you will come to know about that. And Narasimha Dev, now you know about him. Very, very merciful Narasimha. Hare Krishna. Shri Mayapur Dham ki Jai! So all of you can